Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our virtual roundtable with our President and CEO, Natalie Madeira Cofield. We're going to be charting the future here and talking about strategic visions and partnership opportunities with AEO. So please just hold for one moment as we get started. Thank you all again so much for joining us today. We are here for a virtual roundtable regarding the Association for Enterprise Opportunity, charting the future strategic vision and partnership opportunities with AEO. And I'm so excited to introduce our CEO, Natalie Madeira Cofield. Natalie is a huge asset to AEO. One, she comes with a presidential appointee. She's a four-time CEO and a Fortune 100 executive in residence. She's been an inaugural entrepreneur in residence and honorary doctorate in human letters. She's been one of the most powerful women in business and is our president and CEO. And without further ado, I introduce to you our CEO, Natalie Madeira Cofield.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Renee. Thank you all. And thank you for joining me. As Renee shared, I am Natalie Cofield. I am the new CEO for the Association of Enterprise Opportunity. I'm going to go through a number of different slides with you all today. But I want to just first start by talking about what's the goal of today's conversation. In reading a Harvard Business School review article, one of the things that mentioned was how important it is for a CEO to share early in their tenure the priorities and vision that they have for the organization. It's critical both for team buy-in, but also for strategic relationships and for the strategic growth of the organization. And so with that, and kind of with that as the undertone of today's conversation, I want to share with you all just a little bit about the goals of who AEO is, where we're going. But first, start with the foundation of this particular moment. Outside of the presidential election, this is an incredible moment of change in the entrepreneurial ecosystems across main streets throughout the United States of America, because we are at a time where we have seen the largest number of business and corporation documents being filed with the U.S. Small Business Administration. Since 2021, we've seen 16 million applications for filings to become a small business. Many economists have named this particular moment in time as the entrepreneurial renaissance. And what does that mean for an organization like AEO that has served as the voice of small businesses for the United States of America since 1991? It means that we have more work to do to ensure that ecosystem partners, small businesses, and policymakers have what they need to ensure the success, sustainability, and the strategic growth of the fastest and most important economic business segment, and that is small businesses. We'll first start by sharing just a little bit about who the Association for Enterprise Opportunity is. AEO is the leading voice of innovation for microbusiness and microfinance. And many people have asked, what is a microbusiness? And microbusinesses essentially represent businesses that have 10 or fewer employees. And candidly, in this day and in this moment, not only is the 16 million number that I shared with you reflective of microbusinesses, but nearly 99% of all small businesses qualify as being considered a microbusiness. So as they say, there's nothing small about small business, and there's certainly nothing micro about micro business. Our mission at AEO is to create economic opportunity for underserved entrepreneurs. Underserved is a vast and widely defined segment. For us, it's racially agnostic, gender agnostic, and geographically agnostic. We recognize that underserved can be in rural America. It can be amongst an African-American entrepreneur. It could be amongst a Hispanic entrepreneur, an LGBTQ plus entrepreneur, a veteran entrepreneur, an entrepreneur that's located in a geographically zoned community throughout the United States of America. And candidly, what that does is gives AEO the greatest sense of being the greatest voice for the largest number of small businesses who find themselves in this space of being underserved. And we do this by supporting the development of strong and effective initiatives to assist them in starting, stabilizing, and expanding their businesses, both through organizations as well as through AEO as a national trade association in and of itself. And it goes without saying, many people who are longstanding partners of AEO have known us as a beacon of research, of initiatives, of convenings, and of advocacy that shapes policy and practice toward industry transformation and inclusive entrepreneurship. The AEO advantage is characterized in our strength. I mentioned our research. I mentioned our innovation and programming, our capital access initiatives. But for more than 3 decades, AEO has been a prominent national organization serving as a beacon in this industry. We have facilitated nearly 20 million $20 million to small businesses directly to ensure that they had capital deployed to them during the COVID-19 pandemic. We've been a partner to various corporate partners, federal government agencies, state and local government agencies, as well as foundations and philanthropic nonprofits, and our business service organizations across the country. We've shared a few of the technology partners that we've worked with around a range of initiatives that have come out of our innovation and programming department, and look forward to being able to work with you all to do more. Our innovation hub is the central theme and focus of the strategy of who AEO is. We work in cohorts to both iterate and learn. We recognize problems in the small business ecosystem. We work to identify solutions to address these problems, working with ecosystem partners, and we'll get to that slide shortly. We create tests to evaluate our hypothesis with our partners, and we select stakeholders to collaborate on these tests and provide analysis of our hypothesis through our research, our policy agenda, and through innovative programming. Our role in the ecosystem is undeniable. At AEO, we fortify our role as a leader in the ecosystem, working with partners, and these include CDFIs, although I'd like to just kind of share, AEO is an organization that is squarely and exclusively focused on small business. And in this, when we look at the CDFI landscape, we know that nearly 80% of the work that CDFIs do and the funding that they provide is in the real estate space. So we're working with the other 20% that have small business initiatives, small business programming, and have a focus on supporting capital diffusion and deployment into small businesses. We work with think tanks, nonprofits, international government organizations, institutions of higher education that have increasingly become partners across the country as it relates to supporting main streets and encouraging entrepreneurship. We work with traditional financial institutions and fintech institutions, entrepreneurs and small businesses. Our primary work is not directly with small businesses, but we do and we have, through our programming division, done programs that directly impact small businesses. We also work with small businesses that work with small businesses as an ecosystem partner. And then lastly, and certainly not least, our corporate and industry partners and policymakers and elected officials. And we do all of this to ensure a fluidity of information, knowledge share, programmatic access, resource allocation, and innovation through, again, our innovation hub model, which takes the hypothesis, selects jurisdictions, looks into the work, conducts initiatives, and then comes back out with new hypotheses and new solutions. For AEO, we're focusing primarily in my first year on building new revenue initiatives for our organization. I would be remiss in mentioning, I think at top of mind for every CEO is finding ways to expand reach and expand revenue. And for us, we're going to be doing this through 3 specific areas, which include programming. We're going to be offering a suite of structured initiatives, including regional events. I'm excited to announce some forthcoming launches, some topic-focused institutes, launching a policy summit, and hosting roundtable conversations based off specific industries. In the past, AEO has primarily held an annual meeting, which was a national convening of thousands of ecosystem partners. And now our approach is really to look into regions, to go deeper, and to build more strategic relationships across regions and industries to establish programming and go deep into subject matter content through summits and initiatives. We'll continue to fortify our work as a preeminent research think tank by providing prominent research on various topics, both commissioned and leading the charge on what the new conversation should be around supports that are necessary, policy that's necessary, and the future of small business within the United States of America. And then lastly, through establishing advisory councils. These advisory councils are part of the cohort structure that we're establishing in our Innovation Hub model. We want to hear from practitioners. We want to hear from industry partners, and we want to be informed and infuse that information into the work that we do. We want to go into any partnership that we have as a strategic partner. We don't want to just present a deck. We want to hear what your business, your organization's needs are, and find ways that AEO can create creative solutions alongside you as a thought leader and a partner with you. And we do that by having closer proximity to the needs of our industry partners. As it relates to building scale, part of coming in as a new CEO is assessing where we are and assessing our transition. It goes to no peril to say that it's important to us to ensure that we're elevating the voice of who AEO is and reclaiming our seat as the preeminent thought leader, preeminent partner, and preeminent voice for small businesses across the country. We know that we'll be able to do that by deepening our partnerships across the board with media and other partners, and that's part of our elevated voice, commanding a seat at the table and building table seats for others. We'll do that by establishing strategic MOU agreements with various partnerships, various partners across the country at the national, state, nonprofit level, at the federal level, at the state and local level, to ensure that AEO is, again, being true to its nomenclature of being a national trade association. And we'll do that by expanding our market footprint through the establishment of regional councils. I always say, as you heard from Renee in my introduction, I was a former SBA appointee and was the highest ranking African-American woman to lead during a time where we deployed more than $1.3 trillion to support small businesses across the country. And the reality is that the economic development and entrepreneurship game is a local game. And it's important for AEO to have tentacles in local communities and to truly understand the dynamics of the differences that are occurring in different markets, and to be able to take those challenges to Washington, D.C. or to state capital and meet with legislatures. So I want to just kind of talk a little bit about some of the things that we've done, right? So that's where we're going. And I'd like to share with folks that as I've come into this role, this is not about totally changing who AEO is. It's about being very thoughtful and strategic and focused on who we will be. And as you've heard from me in outlining where we will be and how we will be there, I want to also share spaces that we've been in already and the successes that we've had in these spaces. We have on this call a number of folks who are already partners of AEO and those who might be thinking of becoming a partner to AEO. And we want to share with you some of the things that we've done. We've launched national credit readiness programs with partners like Attendees that we've done in New York. We've done our business health assessment cohorts in partnership with Capital One and Wells Fargo and others that we've launched with national partners across the country. We've partnered with PayPal on the Black Business Empowerment Program, providing nearly $20 million to support nearly 2,000 Black-owned small businesses. And we can do the same with your organization. We are primarily focused in the goals that I've outlined in establishing deep-rooted multi-year strategic partnerships to aid us in these outcomes. And we have a history and track record of successful outcomes and successful delivery with our partners. I mentioned very, briefly in our space about national expansion and market expansion. our regional councils. I'm so excited to have Renee Johnson and team on board with us as we actually launch our regional councils for AEO. This has been a long coming initiative of our organization. And not only have we put the financial resources behind it, but we've also put the talent resources behind it by hiring an incredible team. And the goal of the regional councils is to unite local champions from diverse sectors to address and elevate issues affecting underserved businesses. We've mapped our regional councils out across 6 regions that also map with the U.S. Small Business Administration. And we look forward to a forthcoming launch of our regional council programming in our 6 regions in partnership with an incredible partner that we will be announcing very soon in a press release. But in this, our mission is to ensure that we're delivering localized solutions to regional issues through strategic virtual and in-person events throughout the year. And that's exactly what we are doing. I want to share the map that we have of our regions. Again, this map coincides with the map that was created by the U.S. Small Business Administration, which allows us to have deep integration with the primary organization and federal government agency that is responsible for supporting micro and small businesses. We have West, Central, Midwest, South, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. And you'll notice in the Northeast section, again, similar to SBA, Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands are included in that particular region. And so we will be having our national tour for a roadshow starting in the fall of 2024, I believe as early as September. And we will be in Dallas, San Francisco, Chicago, Richmond. We will be in New York, and we will be across the country, really spreading the good news of what is being done and learning from our partners in these regions about what we can do to continue to champion small business. I want to get into some of the nuts and bolts, right? As funders and partners, many of you all, asked the question around financial stability and fortification of the organization. When you're the CEO of an organization and you're a good CEO, you know that you're not just the face of the organization. It's your job to understand the deep-rooted operations of who this organization is. And so as we continue along our strategic vision path, and as we continue along the growth that we are making, the progress that we are making to date, top of my mind, and I'm also excited to share that we've promoted one of our long-standing and long-tenured members, Marika Walsh, to the Senior Director of Operations role, which I'm very excited about. She's a highly qualified and capable and diligent operational leader. To assist and ensure that we're doing the right things as it relates to budgeting and strategic resource alignment, increasing revenue and mission initiatives, and ensuring that we are operating with the fiscal discipline and management that's needed to help us in achieving our strategic goals. And I've shared here a quick quote, but it says, which I really like, if you make meaning, you'll make money. And so, we believe as a team that the work of AEO is not a hard sell. But we're also not hard selling this work. What we are hard selling is the need for it, the demand across the country, the need to give voice for small businesses, and our desire to assist corporates, partners, and our ecosystem partners with understanding how to create the best solutions to address this growing demand, as I started my presentation with, of 16 million small businesses that have come on board, that have a new set of criteria, a new set of demands, a new set of wants that are very uniquely different than they were prior to the pandemic. And then, again, building and retaining an incredible team is important to us. With every organization transition, you certainly have a transition of leadership. We're excited about having incredible job opportunity and announcements ready right now. And we continue to get interest from national thought leaders. So I candidly am excited about the build out of what will be an incredible, the continuation of an incredible national team at AEO as we continue to work to foster a culture of excellence and collaboration internally, ensuring that the train is moving and that everyone is moving in locomotion with each other in the right direction, but also externally with our partners, and understanding where AEO plays in the sand, and being a supportive and collaborative partner to our ecosystem partners. So when I started with my team, and I'll share with you all as well, because I think it's important around transparency and just sharing, my key priorities in my tenure and my time as the CEO of the Association for Enterprise Opportunity will be guided by these 6 priorities. 1, for us to be mission driven and focused. 2, for us to be collaborative in our approach to partnerships and our approach to our role in the ecosystem. 3, to be innovative and adaptable. And we need to ensure that we're institutionalizing and operationalizing the principles of adaptability, not just in terms of the change of leadership, but also in the change of the national economy, the change of guard, the change that is constantly happening around us. As the old adage says, the only constant in life is change. And so the best team, the most excellent team, is one that's nimble enough and understands that change is actually something we should look forward to, we can plan for, and that we can take advantage of. 4, equity and inclusion. And I mentioned the comprehensive approach that we have to defining that. I look forward to, with our research team, launching our definition of what underserved is through a series of different online articles and materials, but also we've been very intentional at AEO in my tenure about making sure that we're providing the data and the research that communities need to drive and undergird their needs. And so through our incredible research team, Lori and Chelsea, they've launched fact sheets, and we've held webinars honoring what we call our Equity and Opportunity for All series for the LGBTQ community, for Pride Month most recently, for the AAPHNI community, for Women's History Month, for upcoming our Black Business Month in August. So we will continue to do for Hispanic Heritage Month in September and going into October. We will continue to ensure that we're providing data and we're providing forum for conversation. And we look forward to working with you all, both as thought leaders, as speakers, but also as partners in the work that we're doing across the country nationally to support and undergird equity and inclusion. And then lastly, employee engagement and development. As you've heard, we've promoted from within. We're hiring from the ecosystem, and I look forward to having folks join our team that stay with us for quite some time. And in doing that, and doing all of these things, 1 through 5, we will be missioned and committed to excellence. This is very important to me because our small business owners deserve it, our ecosystem partners need it, and the federal government and local government policymakers need to see it. And there's, as I said before, there is nothing small about small business. So we will not shy away from or shrink to the idea of standing tall in our need to be excellent in the work that we do. So with that, and I know that we'll be opening it up for questions very shortly, and I'll stop my screen share presentation, and I know my team will also aid me in fielding any questions that you all may have. Again, we've made public this conversation because it's important to do so. It shouldn't be a mystery how to work with AEO. It shouldn't be a mystery what my strategy is. It shouldn't be a mystery what my vision and our goals for our organization are. In fact, we should be evangelizing them, waving this flag high, sharing this at every turn, and ensuring that those who are a part of the ecosystem, potential partners, previous partners, and organizations understand both who we are and what we do and how we might be able to work together. Whether this partnership comes today or next year, my goal and our goal with this webinar and our opening the door of AEO to partners is to make sure that we have, one, the transparency, but two, the awareness. And if we're really good at what we do, which I know we already are, we've hit the ground running. We've had a number of different events within the last 4.5 months in my tenure. As I mentioned, we've launched our Blueprint for Innovations webinar series. We've launched our Equity and Opportunity for All webinar series. We've reinstituted our legislative policy briefings with small business and ecosystem partners. We held our first regionalism summit with the Assistant Secretary Alejandra Castillo and national partners from across the country. We have forthcoming release of research on ESG, 1099, and our Black retail research, which is launching all before the close of the summer. If you go to our events page right now on AEO, everything you see that is there has happened in the last 4 months. We hit the ground running and we're getting to work. And we are not just rebuilding this organization, we're taking it to a whole nother level. And we want to work with you to do that. We want to work with you all and talk to you about sponsorship opportunities. Now, different than my time in the federal government, I can't do this without partners. We can't do this without partners. We've got goals within our specific division to meet. We want to partner with research organizations, think tanks. We want to partner with corporates. We want to partner with everyone. And we want to talk about strategic sponsorship opportunities that bring mutual value to both organizations. We want to talk about that in the context of working with AEO to aid it in advancing its mission. And we're looking for, and we may end up turning down some opportunities that may take us too far off the path of who we are as an organization. As again, we focus squarely on who we are as AEO and where we're going. So we look forward to partnerships that are in alignment with the vision of who AEO is today and tomorrow. We want to be able to offer partner benefits and create customized partnership opportunities. And in doing that, make impactful outcomes for all, not just for the organizations that are directly working with us, but for the national small business economy as the voice of small business. So we look forward to being able to work with you all to make a lasting impact on underserved micro businesses and to help create a more inclusive and thriving marketplace. With that, I'll open it up to any questions that we have. But first, I'll stop by saying thank you. And please, we look forward to being able to connect with you. So team, I don't know if we have any questions from the audience, but I'm happy to accept any.
So yes, if you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand. We will then call on you, or if you feel more comfortable placing it in the chat, feel free to do so as well. I would ask one question I think some people are excited about is more about this regional council, Natalie. Are you able to show or tell us more information about like how people can partner specifically with the regional councils?
Absolutely. And in fact, as with today, just yesterday, our regional council team held an incredible webinar that is available for replay that talks about how we are going to be launching our regional councils and ways to work with us. You can do that by being a regional council chair. You can do that by being a sponsor of one or all of our regional council events. That will be happening in our regional council launches in 6 cities and 6 regions across the country. You can do that by being a part of the ecosystem, a speaker at the summit, a promotional partner for the summit, a research collaborator for the summit, and for these conversations. So I encourage you to connect with the regional councils team. Renee, I know you're in the background as the voice of God on this, but if you want to just shout out what the regional council email address is, please feel free to do so.
Yes, and I'm also going to drop it in the chat, but it's regions@aeoworks.org.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Renee. And again, the dates on those, we will be launching those in partnership with a national partner that we're excited to be sharing when we do our formal press release and in September through early 2025. I see Justine Blaney has her hand raised.
Yes, and we also have a quick question from Carlos, who says, gracias por la excelente información. Thank you for the excellent information. Are you sharing the presentation, and can we get more information about your expectations from us as partners?
Absolutely. What I would recommend, Carlos, is we'll be actually sharing a video record of this conversation, but I would encourage you actually to schedule a time to meet with myself or members of our team so that, again, we can understand what your needs are, talk more about the work that AEO is doing, and explore it from that perspective. We're here. We want to be engaged. Other ways to engage with us could be inviting me to come and speak at your national conference or your regional conferences or members of our team. But absolutely, we can share that information with you. If I'm hearing correctly and I'm thinking about this, you may be asking in the context of our regional chairs, and Renee and Sophia would be the appropriate folks to ensure that they share with you the expectations of the regional council leaders from that perspective.
Thank you, Natalie. We have another question too. I don't see any more hands up. But I see another question where it says, can you speak about the Tapestry project and network? Is there a specific strategy in place there?
Yeah, so I actually have a special place in my heart for the Tapestry Project because I was in my former life, when I was the founder of a national organization called Walker's Legacy, I was actually one of the people in the research and helping to create the research that was done. The Tapestry Project, for those who don't know, is one of the largest Black business studies done in the United States of America, and one of the largest collections of Black business owners and networks, organizations that work to support Black business owners in the nation. We actually are going to be relaunching our Tapestry Project report with a new forward and kind of looking at the research that came out across the board when we have our event in Martha's Vineyard next month on August 14th. And so there's more to come on the Tapestry Project from that perspective. We also will see iterations of the Tapestry Project. For example, I mentioned our study that we've done on the challenges and opportunities of Black retail business owners. And so that won't necessarily be called Tapestry Project, so to say, but it is focused on the specific demographic that the Tapestry Project was working on. So that particular program still lives. It's still on our website today, but we will probably be kind of rebranding some elements of that under my new leadership and tenure. But I'm excited to know that that was a very meaningful project to you.
Thank you, Natalie, and thank you for that question. I don't see any other hands or questions, but I do know that people may have received information about our Black Retailers Project, and more specifically about our Martha's Vineyard event. So do you want to talk more about that, Natalie?
Absolutely. So in Martha's Vineyard on August 14th, we will be having a convening of national thought leaders, mayors, congresspeople, business leaders, and partners convening in the vineyard for what is what many people call the homecoming for CEO and executive Black leadership from across the nation. We are going to be having conversations and soft launching some of the findings from our Black business retail study that was conducted on nearly 200 plus Black businesses and in partnership with our corporate partner. And then we also have an upcoming event for Congressional Black Caucus that we are doing in September on the 12th of September at noon. So we encourage you to, again, go to the events section of our website and learn more about upcoming events there. On September 11th, we also will be doing our legislative briefing, our quarterly legislative briefing on the 11th. So September 11th is the legislative briefing. September 12th is our CBC event. And you'll see the launch of our regional councils happening toward the latter part of September and on into 2025.
Thank you for that, Natalie. And we are with no additional questions at this time, but people, please, we invite you to use this time to ask any questions that you may have about AEO. Feel free to raise your hand or to drop it in the Q&A section. Well, Natalie, seeing that there's none, I think that we can wrap this up and give people something to look forward to in partnership.
I agree. I appreciate everyone who joined us here today. Please know again that AEO operates in the spirit of transparency around our work, and we look forward to partnering with you and as we do this work across the nation. And thank you to my team.
Thank you for joining. We will be sending a copy of this recording for you to review, share with your teams, and then additionally, we'll be reaching out to see if there's time on your calendars for follow-up and any additional questions. But thank you all so much for joining us today.